Eyes Wide Open. Sabrina Carpenter's debut album Eyes Wide Open dropped on April 14th, 2015, when she was just 16 years old. This was peak Disney Channel era for Sabrina, starring as Maya Hart on Girl Meets World while simultaneously launching her music career under Hollywood Records. The album is folk pop and teen pop with acoustic and country influences, featuring guitars, piano, and that vulnerable teenage energy that feels so specific to being young and experiencing everything for the first time. The album contains 12 tracks, including all 4 songs from her debut EP, Can't Blame a Girl for Trying. We'll Be the Stars was released as the lead single, and it's this dreamy, optimistic track about young love and possibilities. The title track, Eyes Wide Open, became the second single and even won the Radio Disney Music Award for Best Anthem. But the real gem here is Can't Blame a Girl for Trying, which perfectly captures that specific teenage heartbreak where you're hurt, but also understanding that mistakes happen when you're learning about love. Sabrina co-wrote most of the tracks, which immediately set her apart from other Disney artists who were just performing songs written for them. She was telling her own stories from day one. Songs like Two Young Hearts and Too Young tackle the frustration of being dismissed because of your age, while Darling, I'm a Mess shows vulnerability wrapped in acoustic charm. Commercially, Eyes Wide Open debuted at number 43 on the Billboard 200, selling over 12,000 copies in its first week. For a debut album from a 16-year-old actress trying to establish herself as a serious musician, these were solid numbers. Critics praised Sabrina's vocal abilities and songwriting maturity, noting that she wasn't just another Disney star dabbling in music. She was an artist with something to say. This album represents that specific moment of teenage girlhood where everything feels huge and important. And honestly, it is. Sabrina Carpenter gave us permission to feel deeply, to write about our experiences, and to take ourselves seriously even when the world wants to dismiss you as just a kid. Evolution, Then Came Evolution, released on October 14th, 2016, and this is where Sabrina Carpenter really started showing her range. She completely shifted from the folk pop sound of her debut to full dance pop territory, proving she wasn't going to be boxed into one genre. The album title itself is clever, spelling love backwards to represent the evolution happening in her sound and artistic vision. Musically, this is a dance pop record with R&B influences and electronic production. Sabrina worked with producers including Steve Mack and Ido Zmislany, creating a more mature, club-ready sound. The album contains 10 tracks, and Sabrina co-wrote every single one except for Thumbs, showing her continued commitment to being involved in her creative process. On Purpose was released as the lead single, and it's this bright, lyrical dance pop anthem about intentionally choosing to fall for someone, but the real standout is Thumbs, which became a massive hit. This song is quirky, it's got this addictive production, and the social commentary about conformity and following the crowd hit different. The song peaked at number 1 on Billboard's Bubbling Under Hot 100 chart, and was later certified platinum by the RIAA. The album also features gems like Run and Hide, Space, which is about needing breathing room in relationships, and Mirage, which plays with the idea of things not being what they seem. All We Have Is Love and Feels Like Loneliness show Sabrina's ability to balance upbeat production with emotionally complex lyrics. Evolution debuted at number 28 on the Billboard 200, selling 13,000 copies in its first week, which was an improvement from her debut. Critics praised her growth as both a songwriter and vocalist, noting that she proved she wasn't just another Disney star transitioning through her teenage years, she was finding her unique sound and owning it. Sabrina embarked on the Evolution Tour and later the Detour in 2017, establishing herself as a live performer who could sell out venues. This album was about transformation, about refusing to stay in one lane, and about showing that growth is necessary even when it's uncomfortable. Singular Act of November 9th, 2018 brought us Singular Act 1, Sabrina Carpenter's third studio album and the beginning of a 2-part project that would define her artistic vision. This album marked a major shift because for the first time, Sabrina co-wrote every single track, establishing her authority as a songwriter and creative force. The album is primarily dance pop with themes centered around self-empowerment and confidence. It contains only 8 tracks totaling 25 minutes, making it her shortest album. But every single song serves a purpose. Sabrina described this era as making you feel comfortable with yourself, embracing who you are without apology. Almost Love kicks off the album as the lead single, and it's this edgy anthem about a relationship ready to take the next step. The song topped the Dance Club Songs chart, becoming her second #1 on that chart. Paris follows, a gorgeous track where Sabrina sings about being reminded that she already has love in LA, she doesn't need to chase it in Paris. The production is intimate with beautiful guitar riffs. Sumi became an instant fan favorite and the album's second single. This is Sabrina at her most confident, basically telling someone to take her to court if they have a problem with her living her life. It also reached #1 on the Dance Club Songs chart. Bad Time is that relatable track about running into an ex at the worst possible moment, while Mona Lisa compares a complicated relationship to the famous painting. Hold Tight featuring Umir marked Sabrina's first collaboration with another artist on an album, showing her willingness to experiment. PRFCT is this stripped-down moment about accepting imperfections, and Diamonds Are Forever closes the album with a message about valuing what's real over what's shiny. Singular Actum debuted at #103 on the Billboard 200, but the critical acclaim was significant. Critics called it a pop masterpiece with exquisite production, praising Sabrina's versatility and her ability to craft mature themes. This album proved that Sabrina Carpenter had fully come into her own as an artist. Singular Act this too. Just 8 months later, on July 19, 2019, Sabrina dropped Singular Act 2, the companion piece that completed the vision she started with Act 1. If Act 1 was about feeling comfortable with yourself, Act 2 is about feeling uncomfortable in the way we need to grow. It's more vulnerable, more introspective, and tackles heavier themes like anxiety and self-discovery. The album is primarily pop and R&B with dance pop elements, containing 9 tracks that dive deep into Sabrina's psyche. In My Bed opens the album with this electro-kissed, synth-laden production that represents overthinking and being overwhelmed by anxiety. It's one of her most eclectic tracks to date and perfectly sets the tone for this more vulnerable era. Pushing 20 was released as the lead single, written for her 20th birthday. It's a declaration of reclaimed time, about being older and wiser and less willing to put up with other people's nonsense. The song has trap and hip-hop elements and gained comparisons to Rihanna and Alessia Cara. I Can't Stop Me featuring Saweetie is this trap beat anthem mixing pop with hip-hop, showing Sabrina's versatility in collaborating across genres. Exhale is about finally being able to breathe after toxic situations, while Take You Back explores the temptation to return to something familiar, even when you know it's not good for you. Tell M is Sabrina being unapologetically herself and not caring about judgment. Looking at Me closes the album with this realization of self-worth. Singular Act debuted at #138 on the Billboard 200, but the impact went beyond commercial numbers. Critics called it a cohesive collection, and arguably one of the best albums of the year, praising the empowering jams and emotional moments that took the listening experience to the next level. These 2 albums together represent Sabrina Carpenter's complete artistic statement during this era. She explored confidence and vulnerability, strength and weakness, all while maintaining her signature sound and honest songwriting. This was Sabrina showing us that growing up means holding contradictions, and that's perfectly okay. Emails I Can't Send After Leaving Hollywood Records and signing with Island Records, Sabrina Carpenter released her 5th studio album Emails I Can't Send on July 15, 2022. This album marked a massive shift in her artistry and became her breakthrough moment as a critically acclaimed musician separate from her Disney past. The album is primarily bedroom pop and folk pop with synth pop production, featuring alternative pop and electropop elements. The entire concept is based around emails and messages Sabrina wrote but never sent, things she needed to say but kept private. Working with producers including Leroy Clampett, JP Sachs, and Julian Bunetta, she created this intimate, confessional sound that felt like reading her diary. The album contains 13 tracks on the standard edition, with Skinny Dipping serving as the lead single. This song is gorgeous and vulnerable, about wanting to be seen completely by someone and the fear that comes with that level of intimacy. The title track Emails I Can't Send is this yearning piano ballad where Sabrina addresses her father's infidelity to her mother. It's devastating and brave. Vicious became a massive hit with its acoustic guitar-driven production and lyrics about a toxic relationship that leaves you feeling small. Fast Times is upbeat and infectious, about living in the moment even when you know it won't last. But the real breakthrough was Nonsense, which became a viral sensation and was certified 3 times platinum. The song is flirty and fun, and Sabrina started performing it live with different outro verses for each city, which became a whole cultural moment on social media. Because I Liked a Boy addresses the unfair scrutiny women face for their dating lives and relationships. It's honest and frustrated in the best way. Then there's Feather, which was added to the deluxe edition Emails I Can't Send FWD released in March 2023. This song became Sabrina's first #1 on the US Pop Airplay chart and peaked at number 21 on the Hot 100. It's the perfect breakup anthem about feeling lighter after someone toxic is finally gone. The deluxe edition added 4 more tracks, including Opposite, which questions if she was ever really her ex's type, and Lonesome with its Western vibes. Things I Wish You Said closes the deluxe edition on a reflective, nostalgic note. Emails I Can't Send debuted at number 23 on the Billboard 200 and was certified platinum. It appeared on Rolling Stone and Billboard's lists of the best albums of 2022. Critics praised it as Sabrina's most personal and fully realized work, calling it an emotional roller coaster that reintroduced her to the world. The album has sold millions and spawned a massive tour. This album proved that Sabrina Carpenter wasn't just a Disney star who happened to make music. She was a genuine artist with depth, vulnerability, and the songwriting chops to create something that resonated with millions. This was her claiming her narrative and inviting us into her most intimate thoughts. Short and Sweet. Then came the album that changed everything. Short and Sweet dropped on August 23, 2024, and Sabrina Carpenter became a pop culture phenomenon. This is the album that made the world finally pay attention to what fans had known for years. Sabrina Carpenter is a star. The album is primarily pop and dance pop, produced by Julian Bunetta, John Ryan, Ian Kirkpatrick, and Jack Antonoff. Sabrina described it as the hot older sister of Emails I Can't Send, her second big girl album where she had full creative control. She wrote much of it during an 11-day trip to rural France, where isolation unlocked her brutally honest, witty side. The album contains 12 tracks, and it's titled Short and Sweet, not just because Sabrina's vertically challenged, as she puts it, but because these songs are concise, clever, and pack maximum impact in minimal time. Every lyric is intentional, every melody is sticky, and the whole thing feels like the perfect summer soundtrack. Espresso became the lead single and changed Sabrina's career trajectory forever. That's that Me Espresso became one of the most iconic lines in pop music, and the song peaked at number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100. It's disco-influenced, it's playful, and it became the song of summer 2024. The song shouldn't work on paper, but it's genius. Please, Please, Please followed as the second single and became Sabrina's first #1 on the Hot 100. The song is her begging a boyfriend not to embarrass her, and the music video starring Barry Keoghan went viral. Taste became the third single, a disco-infused revenge anthem about knowing your ex will always compare their new partner to you. The music video featured Jenna Ortega and became another cultural moment. Other standout tracks include Good Graces, about staying in someone's good graces before they mess it up, Bedchem with its clever chemistry metaphors, Juno, which is flirty and playful, and Lie to Girls, which calls out the lies men tell. Dumb and Poetic is Sabrina calling out pretentious guys, while Don't Smile is the heartbreaking closer about trying not to show emotion. Short and Sweet debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200 with 362,000 album units, becoming Sabrina's highest charting album and her first #1. It was the third largest debut of 2024, behind Beyoncé and Taylor Swift. The album won Best Pop Vocal Album at the 2025 Grammy Awards, while Espresso won Best Pop Solo Performance. Sabrina received 6 Grammy nominations total, including Album of the Year. All 3 singles simultaneously remained in the top 10 of the Hot 100 for 7 consecutive weeks, a record for any female artist in history. The album went multi-platinum and spawned the Short and Sweet Tour, Sabrina's first arena tour, which sold out instantly. This album is Sabrina Carpenter at her most confident, clever, and unapologetically herself. She's witty, she's self-aware, she's calling people out while also calling herself out. It's accountability wrapped in the catchiest melodies you've ever heard. Man's Best Friend. Less than a year after Short and Sweet, Sabrina Carpenter dropped her 7th studio album Man's Best Friend on August 29, 2025. This album is Sabrina doubling down on everything that made her a star while pushing into more experimental, retro-inspired territory. The album is primarily pop and soft rock, with influences from ABBA, Fleetwood Mac, and 70s disco. Sabrina made her producer debut here, co-producing all 12 tracks with Jack Antonoff and John Ryan. She worked exclusively with longtime collaborators Amy Allen, Antonoff, and Ryan, describing the process as feeling like a band. The production is eclectic, featuring instruments like clavinet, sitar, and agogo. Manchild serves as the lead single and debuted at #1 on the Hot 100, giving Sabrina her second chart topper and her first debut at #1. The song is country-tinged and hilariously calls out immature men. Tears, released as the second single alongside the album, continues the theme of romantic disappointment with gorgeous production. The album features playfully titled tracks like Never Getting Laid, where Sabrina wishes an ex a lifetime of celibacy, We Almost Broke Up Again last night, about the exhausting cycle of on-again, off-again relationships, and When Did You Get Hot? Which is exactly what it sounds like. Go Go Juice is twangy and fun about drunk dialing old flames, while House Tour has New Jack Swing influences and double entendre lyrics that make you giggle. The album's controversial cover art depicted Sabrina in a position suggesting dominance and submission, which sparked massive debate. Man's Best Friend debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200 with 366,000 album units, Sabrina's biggest opening week ever. It debuted at #1 in 18 countries and was certified platinum immediately. The album received 6 Grammy nominations for the 2026 ceremony, including Album of the Year and Best Pop Vocal Album. Critics praised the production and Sabrina's vocals, while some criticized the explicit lyrics as lacking substance. But Sabrina stood by her work, saying it's not for pearl clutchers, and that watching young women scream these lyrics with their best friends at concerts is empowering. The album explores modern dating with humor, frustration, and honesty. Man's Best Friend proves Sabrina Carpenter isn't slowing down. She's taking bigger risks, making bolder statements, and creating music that sparks conversation while dominating charts worldwide. Let me know your favorite Sabrina Carpenter album in the comments, and make sure to subscribe to participate in our weekly polls, where you decide which artist we cover next.